For the if-else task hands-on, we'll have to perform some pre-steps and we'll have to use an older code. Pre-step is pretty simple. You'll have to truncate some tables, drop some tables, and create some tables. And I'm using an old script, which is the Databricks Silver processing, which I had talked about in Spark on Databricks chapter. So this is the exact same code. Nothing has been changed, and I'll be using this code. And you'll have to perform the hands-on just like this using all these scripts. And this is the main notebook that I wanted to talk about because it is a little different. In the slide, I had shown you the options for read API or for batch processing, reading the change data feed in batches. But here I'm using the read stream API, not the read API. There's a very prominent reason for this. If you are using the batch API, you will have to mention the version number. So every time you read it or every time you execute the read API, you'll have to make sure that you provide the correct version. And it is very difficult to track the version every time. It is very difficult to track the version manually because the number of changes could be in thousands. But if you use read stream, then the tracking of the version is not needed. So let me tell you what am I doing here. First, I'm of course reading it in the delta format and I'm reading the change data feed. And the change data feed is from the table transaction silver. And that's what this table mentions. After that, I have this transformation. There is a transformation, by the way, wherein I'm using the drop API to drop 3 columns, which is underscore change type, underscore commit version, and underscore commit timestamp. I could have not used it also, but the reason I'm doing it because the transaction staging table that I have created, it is exactly similar to the transaction silver table. And it does not have those columns. It does not have the change type, commit version, and commit timestamp columns. So if you write it using the two table API, then it would fail saying that there's a metadata mismatch. So that's why I'm dropping these columns. And immediately after read stream, we'll have to use the write stream because you are passing it as a pipe. The output mode is append. This is the checkpoint location. And this is very important because if you are using read stream API and when you use the checkpoint location, we do not have to track the version number because Spark will track the version number automatically. And this is the location of the checkpoint. And after that, we are using the available now trigger. And then this API, this is Databricks specific API. If you want to write streaming records to a delta table, then we'll have to use the two table API. So without this, we cannot write to the delta table. And then this is the await termination. Of course, this is Spark specific. And after the streaming execution is complete, or after reading the records from the change data feed is complete, then the transaction count would be populated using the recent progress API of the streaming data frame, which is provided by Spark again. And I'm using the number of input rows. And then I'm setting the transaction count variable here. And the second task is the exact same code. Nothing changes. It is the code for TXN underscore FCT processing or the transaction fact processing. It is the same code that I had given earlier also, but I've just added the truncation of this transaction silver STG table. Actually, it should be transaction silver staging table, not STG. So after all the processing is done, I'm truncating this staging table so that it is ready to take new records later on. This is task number 3, which does not have any business sense, but I wanted to show you the false conditional execution of the if-else task. Okay, so let's proceed with the execution. First, we'll have to truncate all the tables. All right, it is done. Now I'll have to drop the transaction silver table and I'm creating it again just to start afresh. All right, this is also done. Now I'll have to alter the table so that the change data feed is enabled. And now I'm creating the transaction silver staging table, which is just like the transaction silver table. So everything is done. These are the pre-steps. There is one more pre-step because I have truncated all the tables, the account, ledger, and customer silver master. I'll have to load these 3 tables along with transaction silver table, but I'll load the transaction silver table later on when I enable the job, when I create the job. But let us go ahead and create account silver, ledger silver, and customer silver master table. So this is the same code which is reading from the bronze table. So whatever records are there in the bronze table, it will read from the bronze table. And after that, it will perform for account table. So I'm just executing the cell one after the other. No code changes whatsoever. So these many rows are there, approximately 70 million. And then finally it is cleansed, the account data frame is cleansed, and then it would be written to the account silver table with the append mode. Because the table already exists, if you do not use the mode append, it will give you error. So that's why I'm using the append mode. So this is the account silver table which has been processed. So once it is done, I'll have to create the master table again. Actually, I do not have to create the master table, but I'll have to load the customer master table. So now I have added this if not exists here. Otherwise, this creation will also give error. And I'm loading the customer master files also. Okay, these many rows, approximately 9.7 million rows have been loaded. And I have changed the table definition. Instead of varchar, I have put string everywhere. So customer master is also done. And now I'll have to load the ledger table, which is this one. I'll not be loading the transaction silver table as of yet. All right, all done. Now it's time to create the job. Okay, so let us go ahead and do so. Now I'll be creating the job. This is the name DBS if else task. The first task should be the reading of the change data feed of transaction silver table. So it would be a plain and simple notebook. And this is the name of the task. Let me minimize this. Type would be notebook, and we'll have to select the path also. This is the path, and everything else would remain the same. I do not have to pass any job parameter, and I do not have to pass any task parameter, because the task parameter would be set inside of the task itself. After this, I'll have to have an if-else statement. Let me create this task. And now I'll have to add one more task, which would be a dependent task of this one, which means that the new task that I'm going to create should execute after this. So click on this task and then click on add task. Now the next one will not be a notebook, because we'll have to have this conditional processing. So that's why we need to create this if-else condition. All right. So this is the name, if-else condition for transaction fact, and the type would be if-else. Now here we have to put the condition. Now there are two ways that you can put the condition. One is that we can mention it here. We can hard code the value here itself, or else we can use dynamic value reference. And we'll have to use dynamic value reference because the condition would depend on the transaction count which is being set in this task. So I'll be adding this, and here I'll have to pass dynamic value reference. First keyword would be tasks, then dot, and then the name of the task. So this is the name of the task because we are going to use the value which has been set by this task, which is read transaction silver CDF. And after that, we'll have to use one more keyword, which is values, and then txn underscore count, because that is the parameter name, or that is the task parameter name that I have set. So let me just go ahead and check again. So this is the parameter name txn underscore count, and I'm setting the variable name here. So it is tasks, which is a keyword, dot the name of the task from where we are expecting the task parameter, and the task parameter is being set here, followed by values, which is another keyword, and finally the name of the parameter, which is txn underscore count. So the value of this txn underscore count would be checked in this task, and then we'll be providing the condition which is greater than 0. So this is the condition, transaction count greater than 0, and this task will only check this condition. There is nothing else that we have to do in this task. So we'll have to save this task. Now after the condition is checked here in this task, or in this box, the highlighted one, the condition would be either evaluated to true or false. True means that the transaction count will actually be more than 0. False means that the transaction count will be less than 0. If the transaction count is actually greater than 0, then it would be evaluated to true, and if it is less than 0, it would be evaluated to false. And then I'll have to add tasks. So what should happen? Which task should be executed if it is true, and which task should be executed if it is false. Again, click on this box or click on this task and click on add task again. And the next task would be normal task, and it would be process transaction fact. Everything has been selected. Now here there is a dependency, which is if else condition, right? Now what it tells you, there are only two options. One is the if else for task fact true and the other one is false. So I want to execute this task only when the count is actually greater than 0. That is it. Let me create the task. Alright, so this is done. Now I'll have to add one more task for this condition, which is for false. And that would be truncate table, right? Truncate the fund flow table, I guess. It would also be a notebook, and I'll be selecting the notebook, and that is it. It should not be for true, it should be for false. All right, now let's create the task. Actually, there should be two arrows from here, from true to here and from false to here. So let me just refresh. There might be some issues with the UI. So you see, these are the arrows which are being shown now. So if this condition is true, if the transaction count is greater than 0, then process transaction fact will be executed. If it is less than equal to 0, then fund flow truncate table would be executed. One more thing that I wanted to tell you, there can be other tasks also. So you see, if I create a new task, it is connected to the true. I can add multiple tasks for the true condition. It does not necessarily mean that you'll have to execute only one task. There can be many tasks that you can execute based on the true evaluation. Similarly, you can have multiple tasks getting executed based on the false evaluation. Obviously, it depends on your requirement. Anyway, our pipeline has been created, very simple pipeline. The first one is a task which will read the change data feed from the transaction silver table. From there is one more task, and this is just an if-else condition task. It does not have anything else. The purpose of this task is to evaluate this value and to check whether the value is greater than 0 or not. If it is greater than 0, then this task will be processed or executed. And if it is less than 0, then this task will be executed. The transaction silver table is empty now, and nothing should happen. It should be false, and it should go ahead and truncate the table, by the way. So let's execute it. This is the first execution. I hope there are no errors. So first time around, it should execute. The transaction count would be 0, which would be set by the task, and it would truncate the table. We can click on this job and we can see which one is getting executed now. So you see the execution is shown by this moving green bar. This is done, and it was evaluated to false because there were no records. And now it is truncating the table, and it is taking around 27 seconds. So looks like the job was successful, or it will be successful after the execution is complete. And now I'll be inserting records in the transaction silver table, and see the job got completed successfully. Now let's go back to 8.1, and here I'll have to process the transaction silver table. So this is the cell where I'm sending the records, reading it from the bronze layer and then writing it to the silver layer. So this is writing to the transaction silver delta table. Now once this execution is complete, I will be executing the if-else task again. Alright, the transaction silver table was loaded. Approximately 76 million rows were read and loaded, 2.37 GB. So the staging table should be having records now. I mean, if we start the task, then this job or this notebook should read a lot of records, which is 76 million records. And let's execute this job again. Now this time around, we can click on this and see where the flow is. Currently, this is where the flow is. So we'll keep an eye whether it gets evaluated to true or false. So currently it is executing the reading of the transaction silver CDF. And this would take fair amount of time because we have approximately 77 million rows. And then the count should be greater than 0. It should be evaluated to true. And then the transaction fact table should be processed. So let's wait for some time for this execution to be over. All right. So you see, it has been evaluated to true because the number of records were pretty high. I can go to the run ID again and look at the current execution. Okay. So this is getting executed now, which is processing the transaction fact table, which is correct because the count was way more. Now the transaction fact table should have certain number of rows. Okay, looks like the execution failed and this table was not found. Sorry, the name of the table was wrong. It's my bad. So it should be Tran Silver Staging. Because it has failed, I'll have to truncate the transaction silver table again, and then load the transaction table again. And now let's execute the if else task. Hopefully this time it would execute. So third time lucky, it got executed or it got completed successfully after processing the transaction fact table. And let's look at the count just to make sure that it has actually written records or not. And as we see, 819 records are there, which is correct because it's an aggregated table. So number of records would be way lesser than what we have seen. So the execution got completed successfully. So the first time it was fine because there were no records as such. The evaluation was false and it executed the third task, which is the truncate fund flow table. The second time we had loaded the silver table and it read the CDF, and this if else condition evaluated to true, and then the process transaction fact table was successful. Now if we run again, what should happen? I'm not loading any records to the transaction silver table. If I execute the job again, the execution would be just like the first time. So this is the first run. If I look at the first run, first time around, it read the CDF, there were no records. So that's why the transaction count greater than 0 was evaluated to false. And then it executed truncate fund flow task. Second time it failed because of syntax error. The table name was not correct. The third time the execution was as expected because a lot of records were loaded in the transaction silver table and it read the CDF. This evaluated to true and then the transaction FCT table was processed. This time around it would be the same. It would be like the first time because there were no records in the transaction silver table, and you can see that is indeed the fact. The transaction silver CDF was read, nothing was changed, and then the truncate command was executed. And let's do one thing. I'll be performing an operation, an update operation in the transaction silver table. So first, let's look at the number of records. What am I going to do is that I'll be updating this table and I'll make sure where the transaction ID is equal to this value, and let's set the currency code to be Indian rupees. Now this should also generate a CDF. Sorry, this is wrong. So this should also generate a CDF once I perform this update. Once this execution is done, I'll run the job again, the CDF job again, which should read only one record and it should process the transaction fact table. So the update is complete and let's run this job again. And let's look at it live. I'll fast forward the video. So be with me here, please. So as you can see, it has been evaluated to true because there was only one record and it is processing the transaction fact table. So this is how we can use the if else task to execute conditional task flow or to orchestrate conditional task flow.